Hi, my name's Dave Suich. Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things spiritual. Today I wanted to talk about this meme I saw on the internet. How you see the world depends on how you look. And I think this is such an important spiritual concept. In my 17 years of near-death experience research, I have heard a theme over and over again, and that is when these people come back from visiting the other side of the veil, from seeing heaven, they say things like, I had no idea how powerful my thoughts and words are. Had I known, I would have paid much more attention to directing my thoughts in a positive way. And really, that's a thing that a lot of human beings, me included, struggle with. There's an equal amount of good and bad in the world, and what we focus on often affects our level of happiness. So we're going to go through a few examples today and talk about how just the way we react to things or our perspective in a difficult situation affects our happiness. And it is possible to experience joy even in the worst of circumstances. And that's how heaven wants us to deal with pain and suffering. They want us to endure it with a humble dignity, and if we can manage, to try and find joy in the middle of a difficult situation. Now we're going to give some real-world examples here of how that works. There's this YouTube channel called I Shouldn't Be Alive, and they do 45-minute documentaries about people who are in life and death survival situations. They've crashed in a plane in the mountains, or they get lost in the jungle or the desert or something like that. And we're going to watch a few clips here, and I want you to pay attention to what they're saying. This is them describing how they felt when they saw the rescuers. They're coming through the woods, or here comes the helicopter. And these people who have been injured and often are hungry and thirsty, and they see the rescuers coming, they know their suffering's going to be over. It's a description of how they felt during that time.
I had lost all hope. We were all injured, we were all exhausted, we didn't know where we were going. There was no hope left.
I heard voices yelling. And all of a sudden, this man appears out of the jungle.
Are you all right?
Over here! Over here!
You're safe now.
An army of Red Cross volunteers has been combing the area for 24 hours and has finally found the crash site.
I just started crying, and it was the most emotional period. I couldn't believe it.
Against all odds, a local farmer and member of the search team literally stumbles upon them.
It was the most incredible feeling I've ever had. It was just pure joy.
It was complete elation. I remember sitting down and thinking, this is unbelievable.
Rescued from the Costa Rican jungle, Silke, Alvaro, and Michael made a full recovery.
Now, isn't it very interesting? They talk about feeling elation, bliss. Some of them have said, by far the happiest moments of my life. Well, wait a minute. They're still in the same physical situation. They have all their injuries. They're still hungry. They're still thirsty. They're just seeing the helicopter coming. They know their suffering's going to be over with, but their circumstances haven't changed. And so that is an example of how it is possible to find joy. We're capable of it. It's not easy, but we are capable of experiencing joy even in the worst of circumstances. Now I'm going to give you a little example of what actually happened to me in Switzerland. Back in 2006, I went on a family vacation to Switzerland, and we stayed in this place called Lauterbrunnen, and we were planning on going into the Swiss Alps to this place called Top of Europe. It's just one of the most beautiful, majestic landscapes there is, snow-covered mountains, glaciers. Switzerland is a beautiful place. It's clean, flowers in the valleys, green grass, and it was just a beautiful place. The problem is we stayed in this 120-year-old hotel, and they had a common bathroom, for everybody on that floor, and the rooms just had a couple of bunk beds and a small desk. And the room that I stayed in with my uncle was at the end of a long hallway where you had to go to the end of this hallway and then hang a right to go down the stairs. So everybody on that floor leaving the hotel would be walking towards our room, see the little desk, and then hang a right turn to leave. And I had foolishly left all my cash for the trip, thousands of dollars, sitting there on the desk. My uncle thought that I was still in the bathroom when I was downstairs with the rest of the group, and he left the door open because the thing would lock on its own, not realizing that all the money was there left with the door open. So here we are on the train on our way up to top of Europe, and we realized that I've left all my money on the desk. And of course, it's gone, I mean, there's nothing I could do about it. I don't know how many people walked by there, but somebody took the money, right? I mean, I knew that that was the case. And I really made things worse for myself. Here I am in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Now, I was making good money at the time, an engineer, working in the power plant industry. $5,000 was a lot of money, but it's not the end of the world to lose it. I could have borrowed money from my uncle, my stepmom, my dad, and I could have enjoyed the rest of the trip. But what did I do? I made myself miserable that day over something in the past that I couldn't control. And so the whole day, everybody's enjoying the beauty, and I'm kind of looking at it, enjoying it, but not really, because I'm just mad at myself about this money that I've lost. I think it was around $5,000 in today's money. And here's the kicker. We get back to the hotel, and the money's still there. The maid had straightened it out, but nobody took the money. Turns out that part of Switzerland, there's just a lot of honest people, thank God. So I was miserable for nothing, and whether I had lost the money or not, I still made myself miserable for nothing. And so many times we create our own drama based on things that have nothing to do in reality. Now, there's this show on television called Just for Gags, and they play jokes, practical jokes on people in public, and they put it on the internet, and you kind of laugh. And one of the jokes they did was these elderly people crossing the street, and these people in the cars have to wait for them to very slowly cross the street, and they end up having to go back a couple times, and these people in the cars are getting really frustrated. So let's watch what happens. Now, isn't it interesting? Why were these people frustrated? Because they were waiting. They didn't want to wait, and they're having to wait as these people cross the street, again and again, right? Well, wait a minute. At the end, the guys filming the thing come out and say, this is a joke for television, and they're all laughing and smiling. But they still had to wait the same amount of time, whether it was a joke or not. And they even probably waited a little longer because, they had to sign release forms and things like that. So if they were angry about waiting, what made the difference? It was a change in their perspective. Before, they were victims stuck in traffic, and now they were part of something fun. And I wonder how many times in life I had an opportunity to see something different, and I didn't, just because I wasn't smart enough to change my perspective to something positive. So let's look at another example of how I use this technique about changing the way I see things to make the best of a bad situation. There was this museum back in Ohio, and this guy, Mooney, I went to his museum many, many years ago. He's on the other side of the veil now, but he would make these model trains. He would carve them out of wood, and he would spend years replicating, almost exact replicas of the actual trains. Carve up every little piece and paint it all. And they were just these beautiful train sets, and it would take him a couple of years to make a good train set. Well, Mooney decides to put a spring mechanism in this train that he's working on so that he can wind it up and it'll go around the track. And as he finishes the project and he's showing it to a few of his family and friends, he winds up the mechanism, and the little regulator that keeps the spring from releasing all of its energy at once, it releases it slowly so the train can go around the track, it broke. And so all the energy from that spring got released at once, and the train went barreling down the track, off the table, and smashed into the wall in a million pieces. 2 years of work, 2 years of his life gone. And as his friends and family are standing there, with their jaws open, this serious moment, Mooney starts laughing. And they said, "Mooney, why are you laughing?" And he said, "I've had my first train wreck." He managed to find humor in what would have otherwise been a sad situation. Now, sometimes it's really difficult if the situation is very grave, like, maybe somebody gets cancer or something like that. But I've even found examples online of people who dealt with that in a positive way. Doctors and nurses will tell you a patient's attitude during cancer treatment will actually affect the outcome. And there was a story online. I tried to find it for the video, but I couldn't. If anybody knows where it is, please send me the link or put it in the comments. But this young man got cancer. The prognosis was he was going to die in a year, and his life's over. And he's just this young kid. So he decides that he's not going to try and go through a lot of invasive treatments or try and cure himself. He's just going to spend this last year of his life doing good deeds, being kind and compassionate to others. And what happened at the end of that year? His body healed. And so just having a positive outcome, when your spirit's in a well-balanced, positive state, it can actually promote healing. Now let's talk about a little example for me. I was leaving my friend's house one day, and I had my laptop and a bunch of other stuff in my arms. And I went outside to unlock the trunk of my SUV. It was just starting to rain. And I had so much stuff in my arms that I couldn't unlock the SUV. So I kind of pushed the laptop on top of the rear wheel of my car under the wheel well so it wouldn't get wet. And then I had one hand free, and I opened up the trunk of the car, which kind of acted like a little umbrella, and put the rest of the stuff in there. And as I'm finishing up loading the stuff, my friend comes out and starts talking with me. And we're standing there under the trunk of my car as it's raining for about 45 minutes. And he goes in, and I can hide my own Easter eggs. That's about the level of my memory, right? So I forgot about the laptop completely. I get in the car, I drive 2 feet, and I hear a crunch. And I immediately remember and realize what happened. Now, I started to get real upset with myself. But I remembered this, okay, it's done. The laptop's destroyed. There's nothing I can do about it. I got 2 choices going forward. I can just, do my best to not be upset, and I've lost the laptop, or I can, be all upset about it, and I've lost the laptop. Well, I'll take that first one. So I said to myself, well, even though I can't afford a new laptop right now, I've been meaning to get a better one, a little bigger screen, and so, I'll put it on my credit card. I guess I'm getting a new laptop, and I kind of saw it as a positive thing. So really, often we think that we need this perfect set of circumstances in life to be happy. But look at people who do have what we might view as a perfect set of circumstances. Some young, successful Hollywood actors and actresses. They've got everything, right? They've got good careers. They're making good money. They're popular. They know lots of people, attractive, good health. And it seems like they have everything going for them, but then why do some of them end up in drug addiction and all sorts of depression and problems? It's because they haven't learned to focus on the right things that really make for a happy life. And the main thing would be meaningful relationships. But another big part is the way we react to our circumstances. Now, this is a picture of a tree that's growing in a bridge. It was in a park that my wife and I sometimes go for a walk in. And look at how difficult the circumstances is. You would look at that bridge and think no tree could ever survive growing out of the side between the cracks of the concrete. And somehow this tree has not only managed to survive, but to thrive and grow. And it's managed to reach the area that's sunny, past the shadow of the bridge. And that's a shining example of, who we are as human beings. We are capable of overcoming great obstacles, great sets of horrible circumstances. And I think a good advice was given by an android bartender from this movie Passengers. A little spoiler alert, if you're planning on seeing the movie, skip past this part of the video. But basically the movie is about this guy. It's in the future. There's 5,000 people that are put in the stasis, and they get put in this ship, and it's 120 years to this new world. And they go through an asteroid field. His pod malfunctions and he wakes up. Now, the pods just maintain you in stasis. They can't put you back in stasis. That's equipment back on Earth. So now he's all alone. 30 years into this 120-year voyage, 90 years left to go. He's stuck. He's going to be alone for the rest of his life. And the only company he has is this bartender, which is an android that works on this space cruise ship. And he's real depressed one day, and he says, "Give me some bartender advice." And this is the advice that Arthur gives him. You can't get so caught up on where you'd rather be that you forget to make the most of where you are. So let's do our best to try and make the most of the situations that we're in. Find joy, find happiness, find peace. We're capable of it regardless of the circumstances. Well, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Until then, keep spreading your light and love.